Hey, welcome to the Buck Holly Podcast here at CH Precision Weapons at SHOT Show 2023. I'm here with my friend Adam Pini from KMG Suppressors. KGM, sorry.
You're good. Everybody mixes it up.
Dyslexic.
It's either that or KG made, everybody.
Yeah.
Goes all over the place.
So, hey, I'll tell you a secret. If you shoot a lot, like I do, and you're dumb, like I was for a long time, and you want to be amazing at shooting, and you want every tiny little advantage, you shoot a muzzle brake. But here's the bad thing I'll tell you. I went to an audiologist a year ago because my hearing's always been bad, and it's getting worse. And he's like, "Oh yeah, okay, we got to do something about this shooting. You got to wear double earplugs and all this other bullshit." And what was very interesting about the visit to the audiologist was he goes, do you want to fix your hearing forever? Do you want to not lose any more hearing? I'm like, absolutely. What expensive earplugs do I got to buy this year? He goes, if you want to fix your hearing, never lose any more hearing, you basically have to shoot with a motorcycle helmet on. I'm like, a motorcycle helmet? He goes, absolutely. So it didn't make sense. And he goes, man, sound gets to your ears. It hits basically the loud noises beat up those little hairs in your ear.
Yep, yeah.
What are they called?
Don't get them through, I forget what the actual name is, but you don't just get it through your ears, you also get it through your sinuses.
Yes.
Like through your nose is a huge direct pathway into your cranium. Messes with your inner ear, and can rupture your eardrums super easily.
Yeah, so all these guys that are shooting these muzzle brakes to keep their rifle flat, I understand why. But he said all that sound that hits your foreheads, your cheekbones, the bones on the side of your ear, and the bones on the side of behind your ears. I don't give a shit if you got double ear pro. You are losing hearing when that sound hits your face and behind. He said basically wear a motorcycle helmet. I'm like, wow, it makes sense. So I took a break from shooting for during the COVID and business took off. I took like 6 or 9 months off, and I went and shot a match. And during that time, you don't know. My hearing didn't get any better, but the ringing decreased a little bit.
Yeah, your tinnitus starts leveling off.
So I went and shot a match, and after day 1, I got back to my RV, took my ear pro off, took my ear pro out, I set them down, and the ringing was on level 10. I was like, what in the hell? And it just all made sense. I'm like, even with double ear pro, you're still messing with your hearing if you're not. So anyway, long story short, then I switched over to back to shooting a can, because I used to shoot a can all the time. And then
people see a pretty instant change in how they feel.
Yeah.
One thing so I shoot a lot of PRS, I shoot a lot with Buck. We see people, they always complain, I don't shoot a suppressor because I'm behind the power curve, which generally is true on most traditional sealed suppressors. You're dealing with an elongated recoil impulse back to you. You see more muzzle rise, more felt rearward recoil. So like our cans, they're radially braked, so you get that same level of flatness as you would with a brake, but that huge benefit of reduced pressure to yourself, reduced sound impulse level, and reduced visual signature. So Josh Bandy's place, when we shoot that far stage and you go through and shoot those little pipe holes, you watch guys shoot brakes and all that concrete dust comes back. You throw a can in there, nothing's there. And what you'll find is most guys, when they switch over to shooting suppressors, they're able to process things easier because that subconscious mental load of this fucking explosion is going to happen and do this, even if it's subconsciously, goes away. Guys generally shoot better on their second day. They're not as cognitively tired on their first day, and they're not completely dead on their second day. You see better overall performance, and cans today now are completely different than where they were 5 years ago. I mean, you have so many, I hate the phrase, but I have to use it, mission-specific suppressors that are designed for whatever this task is, whether it is sniper rifle, PRS applications, or carbine applications. They're exceptional at that, and they really exceed what we have thought. I mean, now in days like, our R30XL on a 300 Norma Magnum has 3% less rearward recoil than a fat bastard does.
Well, which we didn't catch on film. As soon as he walked up, I'm like, dude, you're a dick. You didn't respond to my email, because I remember the day I didn't know shit about your cans up until recently. I just didn't know shit about them. And I'm a creature of habit. I was at a prize table one day, and I don't know, I finished in the top 10. I walked up there and I grabbed a cert for either a free or a 50% off can. I went with my standard, one of my favorites, Thunder Beast. I was like, I'm riding this motherfucker. And there, right next to it was one of your certs. And I didn't really pay any attention because I didn't know shit about them. I walked off and you're like, dick, you didn't take mine. I'm like, well, sorry, I
will say, I love Ray and I love the Thunder Beast guys. I've got Ultra 7, Ultra 9, and Ultra 5. They're great cans, but it's what they were built for and what they do well. Like the Thunder Beast cans, some of them are quieter than ours, absolutely. So if it sounds a big thing for you, we may not be your jam. But if it is, hey, I want this gun to recover as close to my muzzle brake or better, we're a good option for that, and we do great in the sound performance. I mean, our 6mm, it's 5 1/4 inches long, it weighs 8 ounces, and it's hearing safe. It was built, all of our cans were built around a optimized cartridge window. So like the R6 was built for 6BR to 6GT. It works great on 223 guns as well, but it was built for BR, BRA, Dasher, GT, BRDX, all those small ones, because they have such little exit muzzle pressure that the can needed to be really small and optimized to utilize that pressure to flatten the gun out. You go into the 6.5, same OD, but it's longer. The baffle spacing's different, baffle design's different, because that was designed for 6 Creedmoor to 6.5 PRC. When you start designing suppressors around the cartridges that they're used in, you could do some really crazy shit with it.
Okay, so before we leave, I gotta pull up that email, because this year, against my better judgment, I'm going back to the tactical division because I want to qualify for South Africa, the world PRS, or not PRS, the world finale shooting again, which I went to last summer. I want to be able to qualify for that in 2 years, or 1 year. I'm going back to the tactical division. So what is I don't give a shit how big it is. It could be as big as a car muffler. What is the can that I want to put on my 30 caliber? I want it flat and quiet.
So questions before I give you answers. Do you want it to be brake mount, or do you want it to be direct thread? I'm a direct thread guy.
I'm a direct thread guy.
Generally, it's a smaller can, it's a lighter can, better performing can. Direct threads are usually 3 to 4 dBs quieter than a direct or a brake mounted variant.
I want the direct thread.
So I'd go with an R30.
Okay.
It's a can that's 6.5 inches long, weighs 10 ounces. It works great on everything from, it was designed for 308 to 300 Web Mag. The next step up, you get really big, like you're almost 9 inches, and that's our XL, but it was designed for 300 PRC, 300 normal mag.
Okay, so can I shoot the XL on my 308?
Absolutely. You just lose a little bit of efficiency. So if you say 100% efficiency on a R30, then you go to an XL, you're like 80%. Because you now have a can that is bigger than, it has more volume than what's needed for the exit pressure of that cartridge.
Okay. So in the spring, so maybe I need to buy 2 cans, because I'm building
the
2.
30 will do a lot for you. I mean, I run our 30K on a 300 Norma hunting gun, and it's fine. Like, it's great.
I'm going to Alaska in April to go bear hunting.
Okay.
And I'm going to be shooting matches. Is there a perfect can that I can put on my 300 PRC and run on my 300?
Yeah, the straight R30.
R30.
Yep, that 6-inch can, 10 ounces, it is awesome. And
okay.
One thing you'll find is that it has minimal to no POI shift. I will generally say it has none. It's been tested from some of our military customers from 50 yards to a mile, and any kind of POI shift there was from cannon on to cannon off is generally in the white noise of that ammunition.
Okay. Well, then sold. So I'm taking one. Probably actually take 2.
It's nice because you're a fellow Georgia company, so that transfer is nice, quick and easy.
Yes, easy. Let's see. So we're talking about cans. Let's get back to some personal shit. So I haven't seen you in a minute. What happened?
Kind of a lot. Back in November, I had a stroke. I actually had 3 strokes.
You're like 30-some years old.
Yeah, man. It was...
and you had a stroke.
3 of them.
3?
Yep.
Time out. Not a conspiracy theorist, but what do we think this was tied to?
Unofficially, because you can't really pin it down, but it has a lot to do with like vaccine stuff. So I got vaccinated back in February.
For like mumps or smallpox
No,
or
oh, come on.
COVID?
Yeah. So I got that
Fucking
back in
shocking.
November to do some government work, and my blood pressure spiked up real high, and then got through in about 3 days before Thanksgiving. Had it. Luckily, I'm very blessed that physically I didn't have any damage. I'm dealing with the TBI portion of it, because when you have a stroke, those areas of the brain die. They don't come back. Luckily, I'm young enough, and yet my brain elasticity is good enough that I should be able to be back to baseline in about a year after a lot of therapy. The good thing is that I got cleared by the doctors to keep shooting. My cognitive therapist is awesome. She says do things that make you happy. So now I'm doing those things that make me happy. And without my wife, I wouldn't be here today. She has been my warrior and fought for me when there's days I just can't fight for myself. So.
Well, good for her. Good for you. God bless you. I'm sorry you had to go through all that, but it just the more that I think that the more research that is done, then I think they're avoiding doing any research. But I think more studies that come out, more research. I think that we're on a path. We're in a trajectory where they're going to find out that somebody done fucked up.
I tell people now, it's not something I publicize, but it's something I want to tell my friends whenever I see them, what happened to me. If there's something that doesn't feel right, check into it. Like for me, I ignored my blood pressure being high. I was just like, it is what it is. Most men are great at ignore and override and push forward. Don't ignore that shit. I mean, nowadays there's people keeling over at young ages that were historically never a thing. And, if you're not feeling good, if you're not, doing good mentally, go talk to people. It's the best thing that helps me on bad days when I'm just like, I don't want to fucking talk to anybody or be around. Like, my wife and I have conversations, and I generally feel better talking about how I'm doing then. Like yesterday today, the show was not a great day for me. I had to force myself through a lot of meetings because I didn't want to be there. But at the end, I realized what I accomplished, and I was happy with that. And talking to people about your problems is a good thing, whether it be medical, mental, physical, whatever. It's a good thing to be aware of yourself.
Good. I'm glad that you. Well, I hope you want to be here today. I hope this interview ain't too much of a struggle because I don't want to make this tough. But
nah.
Personal health. I mean, whatever this. It's not a podcast, but maybe it's a podcast. I don't know. I don't give a shit. But personal health. I'll tell you what. I was singularly focused. I had to be singularly focused on building a brand and building a company for many, many years. I ignored. Man, I ate really bad. I drank way too much. I stayed up too late. I worked my ass off. But here we are. And then we got to a place where I started hanging out with better people. I started listening to better people via podcast because I don't know these guys personally. Started reading better quality books and articles. I stopped reading the fucking news. Stop watching the news, and I got off social media. I think social media is as bad for you as drugs and alcohol. I think that I
don't know if I agree with that. Social media depends on your attitude towards it and what you're looking to get out of it. Like for me now, I use it to represent the brands that put a lot of faith in me, but I also use it to talk to people about problems. Like, if anybody has an issue, mental health is a big thing, especially for me now. I have to be very cognitive about it. I get angry really easily, and I used to be ashamed to say that, but it's just, that's a part of the struggle that I deal with, and I'm glad to talk to people about it. And there's a lot of people that don't have that avenue to talk about those issues. And mental health is a big thing nowadays.
Well, sadly, people take out their mental health issues on other people on social media because there's no ramification. Because, we can sit and have this conversation right here, one-on-one. We can help each other. We can agree to disagree. But if somebody acts like a real asshole, you got to pay consequences. Like if you do something dumb to my daughter over there, I mean, there's going to be physical consequences. I'm going to get in your. We're gonna come to grips. But on social media, it's too easy for you to talk shit about my daughter, my kids, my business, my whatever, and there's no ramifications for it, and there's no filter. Like you don't have to be responsible for what you say. But if I'm standing in front of you, or if they're standing in front of you, they have to be responsible for what they say to you right then and there.
Well, the problem is a lot of those people didn't grow up during a time where If you said shit, you got fucking knocked out. You got hit. You went into fights. Nowadays, like most kids that are, we'll say 30 and under, they have no idea what it's like to get punched in the face.
Well, they've never been punched in the face.
Exactly.
No.
And that's a problem. Like, if you don't understand there's actual physical ramifications for attitudes, you're going to lose a lot in life.
I remember a time, and I'm not afraid to say this story, but I remember a time, my son's around here somewhere, and I got the shit kicked out of me as I was growing up, and I said I would never do that to my kids. So my kid was like 15 or 16, and I had tolerated his shit for far too long. I remember he acted like a real serious asshole, and he was in his bedroom. I think he kicked a hole through the door or through the wall. I went in there and confronted him about it. I was pissed, and I said, you better do this, or I'm gonna knock your block off. And he goes, I dare you. You won't hit me. And I don't know, I reached back to Oklahoma and came across that room with a flat hand and smacked the shit out of him. And across the room he went, open-handed, which is legal in Florida where I lived at the time. And he got up and he goes, you can't do that. And then he got in my face and I did it again. And from that day forward, it's the one and only time I think he's ever been hit in the face or punched in the face. From that day forward, he now knows that there are serious consequences to talking shit to somebody that's bigger and more powerful. There's ramifications. Now, I'm not proud of it, but it happened. It happens as a parent.
Yeah.
And I wish it happened to more people.
Yeah, understanding that there's physical consequences to people's attitudes, and I think a big disconnect with most young folks and religion is a problem nowadays. It's stuff that a lot of us that are believers, we talk about, and sadly, a lot of kids that should be more involved aren't, and that's their choice, and all we can do is love them and hope they come back. But I think those are two of the bigger issues in our society today.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to stop by. It's really good seeing you. Now we got to recap my email so I can get this can so I can shoot some PRS matches and whack a bear and go to Africa. We'll do whatever I'm going to do with it. But I really appreciate I hope that you find some good health. I hope you get back to a baseline where you're comfortable with. And if there's anything I can do for you, I'd be remiss if you didn't think you couldn't call me and to talk, or if you need a favor.
Yeah. All in all, everything's good, and I appreciate you.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. Yeah. So that's the end of this conclusion of this interview. My friend Adam Pini. You can go look him up at
KGM Suppressors. Also check out Firearms Depot. It's a company I'm involved with. Alpha Munitions, Eagle Eye Munitions, Loophole, Redbeard Gunworks. Those are all people that take care of me, that help me. Shooting, business-wise, I do a lot with all those companies.
Good.
So please go follow them, support those companies, and if you've got anybody that needs a good plate for their new handgun, C&H is the one to go to.
Oh, what about the optics? Did you see the optics?
Dude, I just got here.
Go get up there and look at them. All right, until next time, boom.
See ya.